Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Birthday Connect event. So it's really nice to have everybody here. It's quite a big event for us. It's the 7th year of Byrd, and we just celebrated basically our birthday a couple of days ago. So we're also happy to be able to have this event today to share a bit of the updates that we have kind of seen in the last couple of months happening either within our company or in the whole e-commerce industry. And we have quite a big agenda plan for the day. So really looking forward to that. Sebastian is already here with me on stage, my co-founder and our CTO. So hi, Sebastian. Sebastian is tuning
Hello.
in.
Sorry, just had to find the unmute button. Hi, also welcome from my side.
It's the classic online event kind of thing. Always something not working, but so we're really excited to have everybody here. I'm tuning in from Vienna. Sebastian is tuning in from Berlin, and Alex also managed to get through the technical hoops that we set up for him to test if he's basically up for it. So welcome, Alex. I think you're also tuning in from Berlin right now, right?
That's right. Yep. Berlin it is.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, let's get started, I would say. Maybe I will just quickly show the agenda for today, right? So we have, as I said, us three founders in the call, Alex, CEO and co-founder, me, responsible for the commercial side of things at Byrd, and Sebastian, our CTO, and we'll be guiding you through this event today. But we also have three special partners on board today. So we're going to have Lucas, Henry, and Dana from Miracle, MoveSell, and Parcel Perform, who will also join us for a couple of interesting discussions on more up-to-date industry topics. So specifically, the plan is that we will kick it off with a short introduction from Alex, sharing a bit more, what is the vision, where do we stand today, and basically what can you expect from Byrd. Then the second part will be more about updates focused around the company, but also our partners, and we will have a panel discussion with the three partners that I mentioned before. So Miracle, MoveSell, and Parcel Perform. And then the last part will be more focused on product and feature updates, moderated by Sebastian. And we'll go a bit more into detail about things that we have released recently and things that we're working on, just as an outlook. And obviously, we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. So if you already have questions now, feel free to post them in the chat. As you can see on the right side, there is a questions option available. So feel free to already post throughout the session. We'll get back to that at the end of the call. And maybe one more information is that we'll also try to make it as interactive as possible. So we'll be posting some polls throughout the session just to get a bit of a feeling of, how are you handling certain topics, or what's your view on certain questions. So feel free to participate there and to share your opinions. We're really excited to make it as interactive as possible. And I think with that being said, Alex, I would probably hand over to you for the first part.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks for the intro, Petra. Hey, everyone. For those of you who haven't met me yet, Alex, one of the co-founders as well. And I'm very excited today to be able to speak on our 7th anniversary, which is huge for us, right? When we started the company, we didn't know if we're going to make it 7 weeks. So 7 years now is quite exciting. We've had a big journey to get where we are today. And first of all, also want to say thank you for everyone who has been part of that journey, right? Whether that is our friends and family, whether it's our team members, whether it's my co-founders who are here on the call with us, and of course our partners and customers. Big thank you for everyone who made it possible that we get here. And I hope we'll have another very good 7 years ahead of us. Yeah. But let me, for those of you who haven't maybe been in touch with byrd so far, and are wondering what is Alex even talking about here, let me give you a very quick introduction to byrd. I promise it's very simple, 3 slides, just to give you the very basics, so you know which call you joined today. So what do we do? byrd is building a logistics standard for e-commerce, right? What we want to achieve is, in a nutshell, that anyone who starts an online shop or runs an online shop on Shopify, does the payments with PayPal, naturally moves their inventory to byrd, because those are the folks who do logistics, and we do it on a European level, meaning down what we're working on is the second part, the vision, breaking down the barriers of European logistics to enable merchants to sell anywhere, right? For those of you who are based in Europe, there is a huge amount of friction in the market, right? It's not like, for example, the US, where you have one country with 51 states. It's more like 29 something countries that run their historically 200-year-old parcel systems, and they're very isolated. So it's very, very hard for anyone to really scale their operations and their e-commerce operations in particular across Europe. So we're really working on making it as simple as possible by creating the first of its kind, really European fulfillment solution, right? Without going into the details of the magic behind it, that's what we do. And we're doing it because the market is highly competitive. As many of you would know, right? E-commerce is not an easy business, so you need to make sure you maintain an edge on each part of your business, and supply chain is an absolute critical part of that. So we're working on delivering the best supply chain option you can get on the market to always be on the competitive edge and keep developing ourselves, so you get not only the best solution right now, but also in the future. It's a very complex market where you need to get your parcel to the end consumer, you need to coordinate a number of partners, probably most notably freight forwarders, warehouses, and different last mile services in different countries. So how we're helping with that is by basically creating one platform that integrates all of those service providers seamlessly, so you get one supply chain, which brings me to the next point. The market is very opaque, and what we are helping with is the transparency, right? We like to say that the mistakes always happen at the interfaces, when stuff gets delivered, when stuff leaves the warehouse or returns to the warehouse. We're really working very hard and have been building good solutions on creating transparency and visibility in those interfaces between different service providers, and help with basically a lot of transparency and less friction. And lastly, we help with the fragmentation, because not only are the service providers fragmented, in any country you'll have half a dozen relevant parcel delivery companies and a lot more warehousing companies and freight forwarders, but you also have that multiplied by 28, 29 European countries. So it's highly fragmented market, really tough to navigate. We've done the hard work and actually work with all of those companies and put them together and pre-built the supply chain that everyone can use, right? And the ultimate outcome of that is that we want to help brands scale. And this is an actual example that we had. A company based in France has a good product market fit in their home country, decided to test Germany next as probably the largest or second largest e-commerce market in Europe. Went well, and then they expanded further to other regions, basically using our fulfillment network in the different countries, benefiting from local shipping rates, but also local lead times, ultimately creating a much more cost-efficient, but also setup, but also a much better end consumer experience if the lead time is 1 day versus 5 days beforehand, right? And that's my promised last slide. Ultimately, the vision is really to build one European network that any merchant can sell from. I want the Greek merchant to be as successful in Spain as the Finnish merchant can be in the UK, and vice versa. Really unlocking the power of Europe as a united market, and specifically e-commerce market. Very good. So that was the introduction. I hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, as Petra said, please post them in the Q&A, and we'll be happy to get there later on. And now I'm handing back to you, Petra.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alex. Yeah, so moving on to the next part, which is a bit more focused on, how what have we done recently on the company level, what are updates that we can share, and then moving on to our great partners who are joining the session today and giving also a bit of an insight into recent developments in the market. So some updates that I think are quite exciting for us to share is that we see a big trend in the market being turning more sustainable. It's something that end consumers are asking for more and more, but also our online retailers try to offer as sustainable solutions as possible, be it when it comes to their products directly or the fulfillment part or the logistics side. And so there's basically ongoing projects that we have. We try to offset our CO2 emissions and, of course, calculate them and minimize them. But we also have, again, planted 2,700 trees as part of our kind of annual project where we look at the shipment sent and have a kind of a ratio of trees that we plant in kind of as a replacement for the CO2 emissions generated. It's an ongoing project, right? I think it's not something that you can change once by planting a couple of trees, of course, but it's something that we think is super relevant for the industry in the long term, and we continue investing and trying to improve our CO2 footprint and the sustainability on many different levels. So hopefully we'll have additional updates in the next couple of years and can show a bit more projects that we have actually launched. When it comes to new integrations, just a couple of them here on this slide that are pretty recent. So we have integrated recently with Central, PrestaShop, but also Miracle. And Miracle will be also here today on stage, and Lucas will be sharing a bit more insights about marketplaces, because if you don't know Miracle yet, it's a platform basically that gives online retailers access to a multitude of different marketplaces. So I think it's going to be maybe quite insightful and new information for many of our listeners. So I'm looking forward to that. And on the partner side, we also continue, building our network of partners. Some of the new ones that we have, again, started partnerships with is Fracht, but also both MoveSell and Parcel Perform will also join the stage today and share a bit more insights into their respective fields, which is mostly either Amazon and how to sell successfully on the Amazon marketplace for MoveSell, and Henry, who will be joining there. And from Parcel Perform side, Dana will explain a bit more on the how tracking data affects the customer experience and especially the post-purchase experience. So these are the sessions we have planned for the next couple of minutes, half an hour. And I would suggest that we kick it off right away with Miracle and Lucas. So I would ask him up on stage to come and join me. And here he is.
Petra.
Hi, welcome.
Thanks. Hi, everyone.
Cool. Lucas, so yeah, I would probably hand over the word right to you. But before we do that, I would suggest we have a small poll prepared. So maybe we can publish that just to see a little bit, where our listeners are standing in terms of marketplaces. So the question in the poll that we'll post in a second is, as an e-commerce business, and how many e-commerce marketplaces are you selling? Just for us to kind of get a bit of a feeling of, how active you are. Is that a relevant topic for you or not? And while you submit your votes, I would hand over the word to Lucas. Lucas, you can also move on to the next slide. I would leave that up to you, to present Miracle a bit more.
Great, awesome. So Miracle, so we're a French company. I'm speaking out of Paris right now. And so we've been founded in 2012, so nearly 10 years ago. And so what we do, so we are a SaaS company, so software as a service company. So we built our marketplace solution that we implement in the website of all our clients. So our clients are mostly distributors or big retailers that wants to have a new revenue stream and increase the size of the selections they are proposing on they're offering on their website. So the idea here is to help like big names that you might know, like MediaMarkt, Decathlon, Leroy Merlin, to have another part of their website that is dedicated to marketplace. So the idea here is to give the possibility to everyone, basically every e-commerce merchants that exists, to come on their website and start selling and to reach new customers. So we have now around 350 plus marketplaces now around the world. So we are based in Europe, which is our core market, but we developed ourselves also in Australia, in the United States, in Tokyo recently. So we really try to have this global footprint. And 3 years ago, we created this tool called Miracle Connect that I will talk to you a little bit about. So the idea is really with Miracle Connect to give access to all type of merchants to come to Miracle Connect, which is really a platform that connects all our marketplaces, all our partners, all our merchants together, so that a merchant can sell on multiple marketplaces. And we really, through all of the tools we developed, we help merchants to get access to those marketplaces, to talk to marketplaces directly, and really to increase the number of sales channels they might have, and after that also to how they can manage all their different sales channels through us. So really you can, so Miracle is a solution behind a lot of stuff. But if you need to remember one thing is that we enable new sales channels for e-commerce merchants.
Super nice. Thanks, Lucas. And yeah, I think that's exactly the interesting part right now, right? That we see kind of the e-commerce environment also being a bit unstable,
Yep.
Under a lot of pressure. So do you think that basically for online sellers out there in the current environment, how does the environment affect their marketplace strategy? Is that something that you see a push towards the use of marketplaces? Or how would you describe the current situation?
Yeah, exactly. So I think what we have seen is that marketplaces and dropshipper outperform the current e-commerce. I think it's really a simple solution, both for the operators, so people like MediaMarkt, because for them it brings more selection, so at the end more customers. And also I think for merchants, it's a way to diversify your risks. So you not only depend on maybe only one sales channel or two, but through our solution, you can really develop and sell on 5, 10, 15. I mean, there's no limit per se in selling on marketplaces. And I think also it's easy to use. So mostly if you already use a CMS, like you talked about Shopify earlier, I think when you are already on Shopify, there is a lot of integration. I mean, all the e-commerce ecosystem is working together. And this is why I think also we have built the partnership between Miracle Connect and Byrd. The idea is really, so we have now a direct connection between the two of us. So what we want to do at the end is facilitate and improve the life of our merchants, because they only need to focus on one thing, is to sell more on their different channels, and not to take ages to do all the connections. So this is why we try to facilitate that. And really, I think what is also great with our marketplaces and our system is the global expansion that you can see. So I think it was Alex, you were describing a seller starting to sell in France and wanting to sell then in Greece, in Spain, everywhere. I think this is also where we see really the power of our partnership, is that Byrd will help you go all over the place in Europe, and we bring the sales channels to you. So through that, you really get this facilitated access. You can use your stock to sell all across Europe. And I think really this is a way to diversify and increase your sales in this specific world of which is e-commerce.
Yeah, definitely agreed. And I think just looking at the results of the poll, actually, 50% of the listeners are only selling via their web shop. There's a few who are selling on 1 to 2 marketplaces, but I think there's nobody who's like super aggressive on their marketplace strategy. And I think that's a very interesting point of view, because also for me personally, before talking to you, obviously, and partnering up with you, I've always thought about, growth for online shops in terms of how much marketing budget do we invest, right? How much can we sell through our own web shop? But I think kind of looking at this a bit more in a diversified way, as you said, and trying to think of additional sales channels that you can cover with your existing products. I think that's, at least for me, that was quite a new way to consider things. So that's a really helpful way to look at it.
Yeah, and you're talking about how a merchant wants to spend their marketing budget. And I think what is great with marketplaces is that the retailer, so Leroy Merlin, MediaMarkt, those guys will do the job for you, will spend the money to attract the customer on their website, and you will just need to sell. So I think this is also a great way to let the marketplace and the website do the job of getting the customers. And at the end, you can just have them in front of you and start selling. I think this is also a great way for merchants to have a great return investments through marketplaces.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually have a second poll prepared. So maybe we can post that one as well, because it's also a question that I want to ask you. Basically, what are your biggest challenges when selling across multiple marketplaces? Maybe we can again answer the question from your point of view, Lucas, and then come back to the answers, because I don't know how you see it. But maybe you can share a bit of the insights of what's the most challenging from your point of view.
Yeah, I think the two main challenges are, how do you centralize everything? Because if you sell on multiple channels, you might get lost on where you are on the different channels. I think this is one key element, and this is what we are trying to solve with Merkle Connect, to be able to that you have one platform that gathers everything, where you can get all your orders, all your customers' claims and everything on one place, so that you're not lost and you're not missing anything. And I think what is complicated, and this is also the purpose of our partnership, is how do you handle when you need to go outside your home country? I think this is also always complicated for merchants to, okay, now I'm good. I can sell in multiple channels in France, so really I'm secure there. But how do I get outside my comfort zone? And I think this is quite challenging on how would a German customer like my product, stuff like that. So it's really, how do you go on the outside? And this is something that I think through our partnership, we can help merchants with, and with all this shipping process on how can I get good rates to ship to multiple countries. So on my point of view, those are the two major challenges that a merchant can face while doing marketplaces.
Great. And I think also our poll is, the options were a bit more limited here, but the poll is showing that I think the majority is struggling mostly with as you said, kind of the centralization of the product listings, inventory, and also fulfillment across different platforms. And then also adhering to varying marketplace rules, policies, and seller fees. But I think it all ties into the centralized management
Exactly.
that you described, basically. Cool. Lucas, thanks so much. I think we're a little bit running out of time because I keep talking a lot, but I think it's an exciting topic. So thank you so much for sharing a few insights. I guess there will probably be more questions, but we just also wanted to kind of share a bit of a teaser so that whoever is interested can also then follow up and reach out directly. So I'm sure there will be more questions to follow. But thank you so much, Lucas.
Sure, my pleasure.
You can now leave the stage so that basically we can also move to the next partner, who is MoveSell. And there I would ask Henry to join us. And we would also have a little bit of a hi, Henry. Welcome.
Hello, Petra.
On stage.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. So Henry, also for you, I would leave you basically a little bit of time to present MoveSell and what you're doing and what your focus is. But maybe also in this case, we can start with a small poll just to get everybody into the mood of Amazon. And because we're moving from marketplaces in general, right, to the very specific topic of Amazon, or at least I think that's the majority of the work that MoveSell does, right? So it would be awesome if the audience could vote so that we know if they're actually selling on Amazon. And then Henry, I will also leave the stage to you to do a quick introduction.
Thank you, Petra. Yeah, hello, I'm Henry from MoveSell. We're a marketplace consultancy and agency. We have our own software tool called Robt, and we have a focus on Amazon, as Petra told you right. And we started around 2015 as one of the first movers, and we are now one of the top providers here in Germany. And our focus is to take mid-sized and enterprise companies to the next level on Amazon. This includes brands like Calvin Klein, Carlsberg, or Dunlop. And we don't do this just in Germany, but support our customers on all Amazon marketplaces and often take the step into a new country together with them. So this fits the points that Alex lined out earlier today really well. And what do we do for our customers? Yeah, maybe 3 points. Market analysis, we are able to make market shares and category sales completely transparent in order to be able to clearly quantify sales potentials on Amazon, especially if you start with Amazon or start with a new country. This is really important, and we aim to provide comprehensive advice in topics like internationalization or launch projects on Amazon. Of course, we take care of SEO and content, but the biggest lever is often Amazon advertising. You can really make a lot of money in a profitable way if you know how to do it. And we know this way, and we helped a lot of brands to have a profitable Amazon advertising strategy in the last years.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Henry. To make it also a bit more interactive, I would now hand over to Sebastian. He also has some questions prepared because I think he was spending a lot of time, especially on our Amazon Prime integration recently for Seller Fulfilled Prime. So Sebastian, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I hope you can hear me properly. I think we're under a bit of time pressure, but just very quickly, a few questions for you, Henry, as well, to kind of better understand the context. So one of the things that I think many people know from their kind of private shopping is the Amazon Prime Day, but we can kind of explain a bit more kind of what strategies work best for certain clients on Amazon on the Prime Day to kind of understand it a bit better from the merchant's perspective.
Yeah, it's really important to launch your Prime Day strategy in advance. So, for example, even on any other day on Amazon, advertising revenue is between 40 to 60%, and campaigns need time to learn. And a Prime Day is a really competitive day. I have some year-over-year data prepared for you. So Prime Day has gotten bigger. Both impressions and sales increased by 50% if you compare it to the previous year. And Prime Day has become slightly more expensive for companies due to the recent competition on the day. So ACOS and click prices increased moderately, but it is still worth participating, where we were able to achieve and exceed the profitability and sales targets with our customers because we planned it 2 or 3 months in advance. So you need to have your logistic lined in a well way. And if you use SFP, for example, if you use a service provider like Byrd, you're on the right spot. For example, I bought a product on Tuesday of Prime Day, and normally you will get the product by Wednesday, Thursday. But if you used FBA or the vendor logistics, you got the product, and I got my product on Saturday. So really long delivery time. But if you use SFP or Byrd, for example, you are able to have a better shipment. So, and this is, in our experience, a conversion rate booster. So a shopper likes fast delivery on Amazon and is used to fast delivery on Amazon.
Interesting. Yeah, I think you already somewhat answered my second question as well.
Okay.
Kind of whether companies have any advantage on the Prime
Yeah.
Day if they use seller fulfilled Prime. But what I understand is basically, I guess since the Amazon warehouses are so overloaded with the volumes, you can actually have a better delivery experience, or like faster delivery times with seller fulfilled Prime compared to the Amazon warehouse, which is quite crazy actually.
Yeah.
And would you say you also have kind of, if you have this Prime badge in general, I guess, do you have any other factors in terms of delivery times or kind of conversion rates as well? Are there any other improvements on this side as well?
Yeah, of course. So especially on shopping events like, for example, Prime Day, but also maybe if we think about Christmas, the Amazon logistics are maxed out. So you will have struggle to bring your product in the warehouses at some point. So, and to your second question, yeah, this is super important to have the Prime badge, to have good delivery. Amazon has a filter option that only shows Prime products. So if the shopper activates these filter options, only Prime products are visible. So, and the Amazon shopper is used to fast delivery in 1 or 2 days. This also plays a big role in advertising. For example, we often encountered profitability problems because the delivery condition did not match the customer experience. One example, I saw a fast-moving consumer goods brand with delivery timings around 3 to 6 weeks, and no one buys a fast-moving consumer good product like chips or shower products if you get your hands on the product in 3 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite of fast-moving consumer goods, rather slow-moving consumer goods. No, thanks a lot. That's super interesting, and I think like if you're really serious about selling on Amazon, I think you cannot really kind of get around the Amazon Prime badge. So yeah, thanks a lot for sharing the insights. I think we need to move on because we're a bit slow with the timing. But thank you so much, Henry, for the insights.
Thank you, Sebastian.
And I think we hear a bit more about Prime in the later update as well. But with that, I would hand over back to Petra, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Again, I see this more as a teaser to the topic, and then hopefully we'll have a lot of follow-up discussions for whoever's interested. But yeah, then I would suggest that we move on to our next partner, Parcel Perform and Dana joining on stage. So welcome, Dana.
Hi, Petra and team. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And yeah, for this part, I would also hand over to Alex to do a little bit of the moderation. I think we also have a potential few polls scheduled. Let's see how we get through it on time. Alex, I would basically leave it up to you if you want to launch some of the polls. And yet, I think Dana also has a few slides prepared. So I'll hand over the words to you too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think suggest we firstly hear from Dana, and then to not torpedo her with some polls straight away. But very good to see you again, first of all, and Dana. And I'm curious to hear what you got for us today, and then maybe I have some questions and some polls later.
Yeah, thank you very much. Then let's maybe jump right in. I think one of the things that we wanted to start with, and I think that's a perfect continuation of what we talked about earlier, is the importance of customer experience, right? And we see a lot of trends in the market, and I think one headache for everyone shipping is, okay, customers are getting more and more demanding. Now you have multiple options to deal with it. I think we can all agree we should embrace it and use it as an opportunity to kind of leverage the shipping experience as a key factor to also differentiate yourself in the market. And we heard earlier, shipping times is one element of that, but there are others as well. And we thought, maybe as a thought starter, we just put a few key numbers out here. One is 81% of customers are likely to switch retailers if they had a bad shopping experience. And I think that's something that a lot of retailers are realizing, right? And that's why a lot of investment is done in optimizing your web store, making sure everything is beautiful there. Well, the thing is, after you kind of hit checkout, someone else often takes over the delivery experience. And if it's well managed, it's with people like you and Byrd, but often there's also a bit of chaos around it. So that then creates customer service issues. And we know that the more customer service issue we have, it's not just a cost factor, but it's also a factor that then limits the opportunity of upselling, cross-selling, and has an impact on your customer lifetime value. I think one topic that is now in everyone's mind, and we also wanted to bring this up, is returns. I think there's not a customer conversation we're having at the moment. You probably have a similar notice here where clients are not trying to figure out how to handle returns operationally, but also from a customer experience. And this is, of course, driven by the fact that 92% of customers, if they feel that returns are handled very intuitively, Amazon also sets quite a good standard there, then they're very likely to come back and purchase again. So we thought we really start for today with a few of those numbers. But those of you that maybe also don't know us and our partnership with Byrd that we're super excited about, we also thought we maybe put a little bit of background on how we are collaborating and really working together. And what we're doing here at Parser Perform is we really set out to build a global standard when it comes to track and trace data. And therefore, we have integrated more than 1,000 different carriers here in Europe, but actually in all the markets. So we're live in 160 different markets. And what we have developed is one standard to harmonize this data. And as we all know, there's a lot of different events and locations, and especially also a lot of languages going around. But we need to have like a common denominator to be able to then interpret this data. And only then you can actually start working on a consistent customer experience. So what we're doing on our end is we're then harmonizing this data. And we're also pretty excited that, of course, once you have a good data fundament, AI is in everyone's mind right now. And we're also happy to say that this also allows us to then predict, for example, very accurately when those parcels arrive. And that's something that also Amazon does very well. If you at checkout there, you learn if you hit checkout now, then you're going to get it by Tuesday. And that's obviously a customer experience that everyone is looking forward to. Last but not least, to those of you listening that are, of course, handling a lot of carrier integrations, we have to get the data as fast as possible to make sure that we can update customers as fast as possible. And that's also why I'm very excited for our partnership and our collaboration, where we can then make sure that we push all the data, no matter which carrier might be connected, also on the warehouses, back into your system on the Byrd side to allow for visibility for all your customers as well.
Very cool. Thank you, Dana, for the quick overview. I actually just published a little poll as well in the meantime to hear from the crowd kind of who is using actually, the very powerful tool of a customized tracking experience, because you get so many customer impressions after you've actually sold your item. So very curious to hear about that. And maybe in the meantime, Dana, as you just said, right, us as Byrd, we recently actually became Parcel Perform customers, which we're very excited about. And a big part of that was exactly what you were mentioning, right? The harmonized state of us being transparent and delivering that data is hugely important. And for those who are not kind of deep in the trenches with that, they might be curious to hear also a little bit about the complexity. Can you share a little bit about the magic you're doing behind to actually get the harmonized data? Because most people probably don't know what it takes here.
Yeah, no, very good one. So, of course, on the one hand, first we have to set up an integration, which with limited development resources everywhere is the first pain point that we're solving. So the pure access to data is already a complicated one. And if we want to aggregate data from the last mile, for example, many of the carriers are obviously offering multiple integration methods, from like SFTP to some EDI files to hopefully APIs and webhooks. So we manage that integration work. And then afterwards, we get a lot of data elements back. One is events. And interestingly enough, MXDHL even they call events very differently. So we have harmonized over 100,000 different DHL status events, and every carrier has their own. So the complexity here is to really be then able to interpret this data. We need to make sure that we have some harmonization. So successfully delivered, erfolgreich ausgeliefert, yay, your parcel arrived. There can be very different words to describe the same thing, that the parcel has reached the recipient. So what we do on our end is making sure that across all carriers, we have that nicely standardized. And then, of course, it can always have a different location, different time zone, which impacts the order of events, and also come in a different language. So once that's all sorted out, which is what we specialized on, everyone can then really work with this data and build additional use cases around it.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Already got some pretty interesting results on the tracking experience. Most of the folks here not using it, so I think there's a lot of upside potential right there. I'm also curious about another one, which has to do with returns, which I'm publishing right now. I'm curious to hear from the folks, how do you handle returns, free returns? Is there a certain threshold around it? Because there's very different opinions. And Dana, to you, a related question to that. As you know, you've touched upon returns recently. In our experience, actually, returns is becoming an increasingly large topic from a customer experience perspective, but also from a pure cost perspective, as profitability is on everyone's mind, and people are now turning towards returns. Have you seen any recent developments there from a profitability perspective as well?
Yeah, so obviously everyone is trying to optimize cost levels, and sometimes one might think that making returns complicated for the customer so you don't get so many would be a solution, where what we're seeing is that doesn't exactly pan out, because the more complicated it is, the more cost you create, especially on the customer service element, because then everyone is going to call you up, and you might probably also impact your top line, because a lot of people are less likely to check out if they don't feel like there's a returns policy in place. So not offering returns, I think, is not a solution anymore. So people need to look at how to make it as intuitive as possible. And I think one big cost element is also for the warehouse to prepare for a return. So key thing here is, let's not just give transparency on your customers, basically easily facilitate returns and kind of get a return label, hopefully not in the box, because that's not very sustainable, but also give that visibility to a warehouse, to the logistics planning teams, in order to prepare for the returns coming back, and then run this a lot more cost effectively as well.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point. I mean, what we've seen as well, right? So that's one of the things we offer is kind of with our returns portal, it gets pushed, the information gets pushed to the customer, and at the same time to the warehouse, so they can handle the volume, particularly during peak times. What's happening operationally is that, returns tend to get deprioritized if the volume is not there. So it's incredibly important on a warehouse side to have that visibility. And maybe one of the cost factors that we repeatedly come across as well that people don't factor in is the pure kind of man hours it takes in order to process it. So if you don't have there is really good solutions out there that you can use to basically offer seamless returns where you don't necessarily even need a human to interact. But even with larger scale-up brands, we see, in an attempt to actually, make it less likely to return, they kind of increase the hurdles. But what ends up happening is actually huge amount of email traffic and internal communication and countless man hours going into that. And if you do the math, you'd quickly realize that if one order somebody spends 10 minutes on, you've lost your profit on that order. So it's also something that we try to advise on repeatedly is make it smooth. Don't make it free necessarily, but make it as smooth as possible, and make sure you count your internal resources as well, so you get the full picture. Cool. Very good, very good. Thank you very much, Dana, for the overview and for your insights on it. With that said, Petra, I'm looking at you. Hand it back to you.
Awesome. Sorry, so I'm just going to rush a little bit more, because we also have quite some exciting updates from Sebastian coming next. So thanks so much, Dana. Thanks a lot for the discussion. Again, I expect some follow-up questions coming soon. And now I would basically hand over to Sebastian for the product and feature updates. So here you go, Sebastian.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Petra. Yeah, so here's a quick overview of what I'm going to share in a bit more detail today about some features that we either recently launched, improved, or are going to launch very soon. I tried to make it a bit quicker, but still give a good overview. So starting with our returns portal, that's not really new. You already know our returns portal that we have for a while now. Maybe just as a quick reminder again, what it is. So basically, we have a white label returns portal that you can put your logo on and then send the link to your consumers so that they can generate a return label by themselves, so that you don't have to manage the communication there. Since last time, we've integrated with a few more carriers in a few more countries. So today we are available in the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Austria. So basically all our main markets, yeah, basically making the experience as smooth as possible for the end consumer to return the products. And one nice thing here is that you can actually also ask the customers why they're returning certain items, because maybe it could be interesting for you to analyze why certain products are returned more often than others. One other thing that we added since the last time is that now you can actually also specify a maximum number of days that customers can return, so that you don't end up with a surprise return like a year later. So there's a certain time frame that you can set up in which customers can return their orders. And said it will make it much easier, not just for the customer, but also for yourself and your customer care team to handle returns basically. So I guess can only echo what Dan and Alex just discussed before, that kind of returns are quite an important topic, and our returns portal hopefully makes it as easy as possible for you to track that. The next feature I want to quickly talk about that we, I think, already mentioned last time, which is Amazon Seller Fulfilled Prime. So today we have this launched in Germany at some selected fulfillment locations. Just as a quick reminder again, what is SFP? We discussed it briefly before as well. So basically, when you sell something on Amazon, you really want to have this Prime badge, because it basically increases your conversion rate and makes it kind of puts you on the top of the search results. And normally the only way to get that is by using FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, but it's not always the most attractive way to ship your products, because it's also quite complicated to get stuff there. And as mentioned before, during peak times like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but also the Amazon Prime Day, you might actually have a worse experience using FBA, which is quite crazy to think about it. And by using SFP, you actually have the full flexibility to use your own fulfillment locations, like Byrd in this case. So we can offer that service for you, so that you not only have all your products in one fulfillment location, but you can also act more independently on those peak days and have more flexibility. So you kind of get the best out of both worlds. And as I said, today you can use SFP with Byrd in Germany, and if you selected fulfillment location. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to support you with that. The next feature, which I want to point out, that's also been mentioned briefly before, is serial number tracking. So if you have products where you need to kind of track their life cycle end to end, so if you need to know exactly which unit you ship to a specific customer, you can now do that with Byrd as well. It's available upon request at all our fulfillment locations. And right now we track the serial number during the shipping process. You would know exactly which customer received which item. One of the things that we're currently working on to improve in the future is also to track deliveries during a delivery to the warehouse, so that you know exactly which units are actually currently stored at the warehouse and then being shipped out. But this is already super helpful for example, electronic products where you need to know exactly what is shipped to the customer, or also for some other use cases where maybe you have more highly valued products, and also to prevent fraud, for example, so that you can also track whether the same unit has been returned that was shipped out. So quite useful for different use cases. Again, it's available right now. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to set up serial number tracking for you. The next feature, and I think the formatting was a bit messed up here, which we're super excited about, is our custom bundles feature. So maybe it needs a bit more explanation what it is. So basically the idea is that if you have a product that is usually kitted, so you basically don't ship the individual components of the product, but you combine them together, here's an example where you would have like a set or a kit which is combined into a bag, and then basically have a more customized unpacking experience for the customer. Previously, you always need to kit them beforehand, either at one of our locations or even before it's delivered to the warehouse, which makes sense if you sell a lot of the same units. But if you have a either wider range of products, so for example, you have maybe 20 different options to pick from inside a package, it's not really feasible to have those different combinations in there. Then also if you have other kind of combinations that are just too much to combine, we have a solution for this problem by basically using our custom bundle feature. So basically how it works is that you can create an order and specify a new custom bundle, which is kind of a dynamic bundle that you would specify, and then includes certain products into that custom bundle so that the packager then knows kind of which products to group together in, for example, a bag or a gift box or some other kind of subunit that is shipped within the product in order to kind of have a more customized experience for your customers. So again, this is quite interesting, either if you have a kitted product like you see on the picture here, or for example, if you want to offer the option of like a gift box or something where you basically have like a container for the products that you want to group together. And again, in this case, you can actually dynamically specify it on each and every order, so you don't need to pre-assemble it beforehand. We're currently testing this feature with the first few customers. We want to enter a closed beta in August and then make it available for all customers later this year. And if that's something that sounds interesting to you, something that you want to use already now, again, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to talk to you and see to kind of make that work for your use case as well. So that's, I think, a pretty cool feature that we've been working on for quite a while. And yeah, some carrier updates as well. So as you know, we are constantly improving our carrier integrations on the stability side of things, adding more services to them as well, kind of to expand our network as well. There's a few new carriers that are worth highlighting here, which is Couriers Express, Colissimo, Siur, and PostNL, which are available now. And another thing which is quite interesting for some markets like Italy and Spain is cash on delivery. So I think it's not that common in Germany anymore, or maybe also not in Austria, but in those two countries, for example, that's still a very frequently used checkout or payment option in the checkout process. And yeah, now we also support this in Spain and Italy. So this might be quite interesting for you to offer to your customers in the checkout process, also in order to increase your conversion rate if that's something that your customers might be interested in. And yeah, last but not least, a very quick overview of some upcoming developments that we are working on. On the one side, again, kind of want to continuously extend our integrations. So two integrations we're actively working on right now is TradeByte as well as eBay. So again, quite similar strategy on the marketplace situation. So eBay is obviously a very well-known marketplace in Europe, and TradeByte is also quite an interesting partner. For example, if you want to sell on Zalando or some other marketplaces as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, talk to us, reach out to us. I'm more than happy to set this up for you as soon as we have it launched. And then we're also integrating some new logistics providers, like for example, DB Schenker for pallet shipping, and Parcelforce in the UK as well, a new carrier there. And we also want to continuously improve our pick-up point solution, for example, with Montreal Relay and Colissimo, which is also quite well known in France, for example. So yeah, always trying to improve our service offering on that side as well. And yeah, I think with that, that concludes kind of my update. And I think we're moving over to the Q&A section. And I guess I hand back to Petra to see if we have some questions from the audience.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Sebastian. Perfect timing, I would say. So actually, we had the opportunity also to pre-submit questions upon the registration to the session. But first, I would like to check the live questions posted. So I think there's one from Peter asking, will it be possible in the future to bring in own contracts and agreements, for example, with couriers like DHL? Bigger companies might have better negotiated rates, which would be desirable to use with Byrd. Yes, so basically, I think there's a couple of things to check on this. Usually we don't take over the carrier contracts. Specifically with DHL, what we can do is basically import in a way the contract that is pre-existing. So this is something we would need to check case by case. But yeah, feel free to reach out. I think our team can note down basically to check this and to discuss this with you. So we try to be as flexible as possible. In some cases, it's a bit tricky for us also then to take care of the customer care and questions if we don't own the contract. So that's a little bit the reason behind it. But we can check about basically importing an existing contract and existing rates specifically for DHL.
Yeah. I can elaborate on that as well, right? So DHL is particular because it allows for different kind of mandates to be imported. So that's possible. Many other carriers across Europe do not do that. If you come to us and you have a better rate than we do, of course, ultimately we want you to be successful. So we won't go against it. What's important to know though is that we need some kind of control over the contract, because as you can imagine, right, if you ship with us from multiple ship-up locations or shipping locations, we also need to have a mandate to manage pickups, etc. Because what you don't see a lot is actually there's a lot of friction points between the warehouse and the last mile carriers, because the stuff needs to be picked up, etc. And sometimes you don't have enough trolleys. Sometimes a truck changes its route and comes later, or they don't come at all. So all of those things need to be actively managed, which is what we do in the background. So you don't need to worry about it, but we can only do that on your behalf if we are somehow associated to your contract. So that's what we require to offer good service. But in general, if you have very good terms, let us know and we'll find a solution for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. And I think there is an additional, there was one question about the sharing the recording with the group. So yes, of course, we will share the recording. I think there will be a link sent out later on. And there is one more question from Alex. Hi, Sebastian. Just a quick check with you. Do you have an integration with Wayfair Germany, the e-commerce platform? We have started to send our product to Germany via Wayfair Germany. Yeah, Sebastian, I don't know if you have all the integrations in mind. I think directly with Wayfair, we don't have an integration, but I think indirectly there are a couple of options, right?
Yeah, exactly. So right now we don't have a direct Wayfair integration. That's true, but we have, for example, a channel advisor that we integrated with that might have a connection to Wayfair, as well as Miracle, of course, which is also connected to many different platforms. I don't know on top of my head if they offer a Wayfair integration, but that's definitely something we can check and get back to you. But usually there's a way we can find to make it happen. Kind of as a last resort, we also have an API integration where you can basically connect to us manually with any shop basically that you might have. So usually we always find a solution, but kind of to answer concretely, so we don't have a direct integration, but we have a few partners like Miracle, for example, that might have one that we can check.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sebastian. And yeah, Alex, I hope that answers the question. Feel free to also reach out for more details. We're happy to look into it specifically for your case and make a suggestion. Great. Yeah, I think that's it currently from the live questions. I realize we're already out of time. I think there was also a couple of pre-submitted questions. One of them being, for example, what are the best marketplaces to be active in across Europe? So maybe just a brief comment on that. I think that also really depends on the type of products that you're selling and your own kind of strategic focus. So I would love to have this discussion individually, and feel free to reach out to our sales team and to talk to us directly about it. I think that's a really important question to create your own strategy. But yeah, I can see Lucas already joined the stage. Thanks so much, because we do want to say kind of goodbye and thank you all together. So I think if Dana and Henry can also just join for a quick second, then we would just say thank you to everybody. Yeah, thank you so much, Lucas, Dana, Henry. It was a really nice discussion with you. And again, I hope those couple of minutes, I mean, they're of course don't do the justice to all the work that you've put into your individual solutions. So I'm sure we're going to have a couple of follow-up discussions there. Great.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having us.
Thanks so
Have a
much.
good day.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the audience. And yeah, of course, thank you, Alex and Sebastian. It was a great, very interactive session. Yeah, we're looking forward to talking to you again soon, latest in a year, I guess, when we have the next one of these sessions. So yeah, have a great day, everybody. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.